A Sudbury author has written a new book. What is it all about? Patrick Labelle now joins us in studio. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Tell our viewers about the title of your new book and why did you decide to write this?
So the book is called Fountain of Shadows, subtitled Chronicles of Khaar, Volume 1. So yes, there's the intention of making this into a series. I've actually been working on this since high school. It sat about 90% completed for decades, and I recently turned 50, and I kind of realized if I'm ever going to share this story with other people, now's the time to do it. So I went through it again, made some small changes, finished the end of the book, and then basically decided it was time to publish it. Yeah, these characters and their story have been in my head for years.
You talked about this book being in development, if you will, for several decades. What drew you to dark fantasy anyway?
Ever since, I think ever since I was about 12 or 13 years old, I was a really big reader. I was a huge fan of horror and fantasy, just kind of by coincidence. I read a lot of Stephen King, and there was H.P. Lovecraft when I was a little bit older. Bram Stoker's Dracula was one of my favorites, the way it was written. And then I read a lot of fantasy as well. So things like Tracy Hickman, Margaret Weiss, and obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but obvious to anyone who knows me, Robert E. Howard. So I liked all of this stuff. And yeah, one day I was sitting I remember sitting in typing class. And back then, we used to actually practice on physical typewriters, and I was done all my exercises for the day. And while other people kept working, I thought, well, why don't I just try to write something? And hence, that's how the book started. But what drew me to fantasy really or dark fantasy, is my love of fantasy and horror combined.
Pretty neat stuff there. What about the process? You mentioned that you started writing this book. Did you have a beginning, middle, and an end, or did you have a beginning and a middle, and you were working on the end?
Oh, that's a really good question. When I first started, I only had a beginning. I had a sense of who my main character was going to be. And then as the years went on, I finally stopped fighting against my English teacher's advice. I don't know if you remember English class, but teachers always tell us to write an outline. And I thought, no, I will just plow through this. I'm a good enough writer, I can do that. Yeah. And at one point I realized, no, I actually need to outline this. So I outlined the whole thing. So that's how the middle and the end came into play. There were a couple of details about the end I hadn't quite decided on yet, and that was the 10% that was missing.
Patrick, thanks very much for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Patrick Labelle was our guest, and to see more of our author series and our Northern Book Club, go to our website, CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca.